Hey, I know that this video is going to be a little dark because it's nighttime and I'm too lazy to turn the other light on. And I just wanted to touch base on the subject someone had been mentioning. I do believe it was Karen Martinez. And she said, start doing videos about valuing antiques, what they are, what they're worth, about flea markets. Well, it's not cut and dry. Um, Back in the day, when we started, we had to learn from scratch, and we made a lot of big mistakes. And sometimes Dennis made big mistakes when he knew better, but he just, I don't know, was kind of obsessive compulsive and just wanted to blow something out for more than what he bought it for. And I started, he started buying the Shroeders price guide. I think it was Shroeders. And something with an S. You can find it in any bookstore under the antique section. It's a nice, big, thick paperback, and it'll have lots of prices and a variety of everything. And that's a really good place to start if you're serious about antiques. Antiques aren't what they used to be. We made a lot of money in the old days, and that was selling the crap for nothing because Dennis wouldn't look a lot of things up. But I remember I was very interested in antique kitchenware. And one day I was just going through a book that my girlfriend had lent me, girlfriend in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I was looking at ice cream scoops. I'm like, oh wow, I remember these from my grandparents' farm. And that's how Dennis started. He remembered all the heirloom antiques that were brought from England, and his family had had homes since 1629, and so he saw a lot of the really fine old stuff, got a little feel for it, what an antique was. So I'm looking up kitchenware, and I happened to, I was looking at the ice cream scoops, and we were heading to Todd's Farm in Rowley, Mass. It's still there to this day. It's a antique flea market, just Sundays, and so I had seen the values of these ice cream scoops. I'm like, Dennis, ice cream scoops are worth like $100 plus. Really? Yeah. So we're tooling through the flea market, and son of a gun if I didn't find one of those ice cream scoops sitting in a bunch of utensils. I say to the lady, how much do you want for this? 25 cents, she says. So I gave it the 25 cents, and I'm walking with my scoop, and I'm overjoyed. It's got a name on it. I think it was Gilchrist, if I remember correctly, but I'm not totally sure. And as I'm walking, a dealer said to me, hey, you want to sell that ice cream scoop? I said, yeah, $55. Just like that. Now, I knew I could hold on to it and get more, but a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, so I sold it. That was my first experience buying and selling. Another first experience was I was at Brimfield, and I was just browsing around the Meadows field. There's several fields in Brimfield, Massachusetts, quite a few actually, and I don't know what it's like now. I have not been since 2016 was the last time, July show. So it was early on in our career in selling antiques, and we were all set up, and it was the second day, or maybe it was set up and we were already done because Dennis would make us stay up all night long, set that stuff out. He'd be selling in the evening until they, made the rule you couldn't anymore. And they started putting fences up and having cops patrol it so you wouldn't sell anything. Ridiculous, but anyway, so we were waiting for the show to open, and I'm just walking around, and I'm looking at cameos because I know they sell really well, and this one woman, she wanted $200-300 a piece. So I'm still walking, and I come to this other guy, and he has really nice cases, and he's got cameos along with other stuff. And I say to him, "Hey, can I see those two cameos?" One was a beautiful oval one with three women, and another one I think was more of a religious theme, though I can't quite remember now. I said, "How much do you want for these?" Because I could see they were real shell and appeared to be in gold. And he said, "I'll take 15 for that one and 25 for the other." And I took them both, brought them back to my booth, and when it opened, I got like 125 for one and 110 for the other, because I was looking, I was observant, I was learning through experience. Now, how did we find shows? An accident. We had bought a bunch of stuff. We used to pick the big garbage weeks. There was one in the spring and one in the fall up in the Northeast before transfer stations. And we would go with the van and a giant U-Haul, and we would just clean up. And then we'd take it over to my mother's and sell it in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And for nothing. One day, I said, "Hey, look, there's an auction. Let's go and see if we can pick up a bunch of stuff for cheap." It was all our stuff that we'd been selling at the yard sales, going for 100 times what we got for it, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. It was distressing. That's our child's tractor, $55 out the door. I sold it for $5. And I said, time for us to smarten up, Dennis. So we went down to Virginia, and we did our first Hillsville ever, because we heard that Hillsville was a big show. While we were in Hillsville, and we did a new field, it was the Bowman field. It was the first time she ever had her show, because everything always took place in the VFW, and it was booked solid with waiting lists forever. So we said, well, we'll try the Bowman field. We had to give our stuff away, but we made the $1,000 we needed to make a payment on the land and some travel money, because we bought a piece of land in Virginia at that time, because I still wanted to be a homesteader, you know, wilderness family. And so people there said, you should be in Brimfield with this stuff. What are you doing here? And so, all right, yeah. I think we were in, was it Canaan, North Carolina? Canaan. It's down the hill from Virginia, from Galax. You just keep going down, down, down. And I think it was Canaan. There was a flea market there. If you know about it or remember it, probably isn't there anymore. I don't know. You know, drop me a comment. And they're like, this is nice stuff. You should be in Brimfield. So, well, we're heading north. You know, winter was over. Going north. Let's find out about this Brimfield. You know. Oh, the dealers loved Dennis because he was still too cheap. You know, even all we've learned, he wouldn't look things up, and he just threw it out there. He just wanted to buy and sell, and back then it was plentiful stuff, so he was able to support the family, but we never got ahead like we should have. We didn't understand gold and silver either, and he was selling that for nothing. Damn shame. It wasn't going for very much back then anyway, though. So, yeah. We learned by mistakes and experience for the most part, and probably made mistakes till the bitter end, because a lot of people in the shows, they specialize. You've got the guy who does the postcards only, he knows all about postcards. You've got a guy who does knives, he knows all about knives. And usually, and that's a genre. You've got Japanese, you've got German, you've got American, you've got certain eras. I can't just, like, you know, porcelain, paste, bisque. just China alone has a million different types, a million different eras, patterns. I mean, and then there's photos and prints and paintings, and because Dennis just bought whatever he found. That's just how we did it. It wasn't a great way to do it, but it's how he did it. And when I would try to change him, it would make him less cooperative. And in the end, I just was like, I'm so done with this. You do what you want. I've had enough. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. But I still helped at shows and whatnot. We weren't settled, and so there was no place to like put the stuff out so I could look it up and I could price it. It wasn't like that. We'd shove it all into a storage facility. He'd fill up the truck and trailer with as much as he could and leave the rest in storage. We'd head down to Florida. We'd start selling there, start buying there and selling there, and that's how our lives were, you know. I mean, there's just a million different things you could specialize in. There are so many different marks on the bottom of china and bisque and porcelain, and then you've got Depression era glass, and that comes in a milk glass and the clear glass and the colored clear glass, and I mean, and then there was carnival glass. We knew a little bit about everything. He'd throw a price on, but if it was something special, I'd look it up, and we'd try to get as close to that price as possible. Recognition came with time and looking around at the shows. My recommendation, if you're really serious about antiques and pricing things, find a summer antique market in your area. Most flea markets will have an antique section, or they'll have an antique extravaganza. Sometimes antique shows, you'll see them announced, you'll hear them on the radio. They'll be in a little, maybe somebody's schoolhouse, a VFW. There's a host of ways to go and see what they're selling, look at it, ask questions about it. Can you tell me why this is so valuable, why this is priced? I'm new to antiques. Decent dealers, if they're not real busy and, you know, dealing with making change and working fast, the best time to go if you're going to try to learn is the day after opening or 2 days after opening, but well before closing, because some dealers will leave early unless it's not allowed. Go and talk to dealers, ask them about their wares. A lot of people love to talk about what they have, how they found it, how they priced it, why they priced it that way. Become friends with an antique dealer. Go to a local antique store. Start looking at their stuff. Start talking to them. Ask if you could volunteer and work a few hours just to learn about it. And really, your best bet is to specialize something. Jewelry alone has so many eras. Georgian, Edwardian, Victorian, there's the Art Nouveau, and I mean, what am I supposed to talk about? Where am I supposed to begin with this? There's just too many things, too many areas, that there's books, a whole nother ball game. There's baseball, another whole nother ball game. Baseball collectibles, very collectible baseball cards from way, way back. They were the tobacco cards. I mean, it goes on and on forever. Tobacco, Tobacciana, that's a genre of its own. There's just too many fields in the antique fields to be able to do just, you know, I can't do a general synopsis. What are you interested in? Is it furniture? Let's not go there. That's a whole nother thing. I mean, you can have a little teeny tiny candle stand that's worth $11,000, probably these days $45,000, because $11,000 was way back in my era. I watched things at auction. That's another great way. Go to an antique auction. Look at things, see what they're going for, write down what they were and the price they went for, and then go home to your computer and look it up. Get the little sheet from the antique auction to see what everything was. Write on the sheet what it went for, and then go home and study it. If you really want to learn about antiques, that's what I recommend. Go to the library, pick up some books on antiques. What do you like? Do you like rugs? There's a whole nother world right there. There's braided rugs, and there's hooked rugs, and there's oriental rugs, and there's German rugs, and Indian rugs, and then there's, the Middle Eastern rugs, the Oriental, but there's so many different types of Oriental rug. I mean, it could drive a person insane. Jelly glasses, for God's sake. Jelly glasses. Remember Tom and Jerry and Popeye, a little glass jar in the 50s that had the little prints of your favorite cartoon characters. It came with jelly in it. They're about that big. Jelly glasses. We use them for drinking glasses. That's a whole nother, arena. Wow. I just don't know what to say except when I said when they suggested that I start talking about antiques and how to find which ones. I mean, your best bet, pick something you love. Do you love primitive country antiques? Wide amount of knowledge you're going to need for that, primitives. A lot of that stuff, the finest, is collected up. You're never going to get them unless some accident, and people are too wise now from the internet. They look everything up, and hair jewelry. My God. They used to make jewelry, but braiding hair, and put it in little glass front pins. You could see the braided hair. Maybe it'd have a little photograph. Some of them had I don't know, just a variety of little weird things inside the hair jewelry. I mean, there's just so much. I really wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know what to talk about. There's too much to talk about. And toys. Oh my gosh. Toys. Wind-up toys. Stiff bears. Pinball machines. I mean, I don't know what to say. So I'm not going to say anymore. If you want to learn, the best way is to immerse yourself in it. How do you learn a language? Immersion is the best way to learn it. How do you learn about a collectible? Immersion. Immerse yourself into that world to get to know it. That's your best bet. Hang around at antique shops, go to the shows, go to the flea markets. Are you going to be in Indiana? Big show in October. Hey, what about that 500-mile yard sale? That runs from, I think, Kentucky all the way up. I think that's in this month, perhaps. Brimfield, Massachusetts has, they did their May show, and their July show will be next. If you're in Texas, Round Top is a big area that has a great deal of big antique shows. Look it up in Google. Madison Boakville, New York is a very big, akin to the Brimfield type, where the whole town, explodes. And that one, the covered bridge in Indiana in the fall, that's several towns. Just go and see and study if you're really interested. The road show, Antique Road Show on PBS, I think they're still doing that. And how about those two guys, the Great American Pickers? That's a great way to learn. These guys specialize, and they've been doing it a long time, and they have a lot of knowledge, but it's a great way to pick up some ideas. I don't know what else to say. Maybe you have like antiques in your home you're wondering about. I might not even know about them. Take pictures of them. I always recommend take pictures all the way around an item, looking down in if it's like a vase, underneath, because they usually will have something stamped on there or carved in, a name. And then take those pictures to a dealer and say, hey, is this anything? That's your best bet. You can go and you can have them look at it and make an offer, and you could just say, I don't know what this is. What is it? And then you can look it up and find out if, it's fair. You got things to sell, a good auction, a good, knowledgeable, honest auctioneer. And you have to look into that, look at reviews. Thank God for the internet. Today there are reviews. And if you have a bad experience, someone has a bad experience, they can put it on there, and you see too many bad experiences, you know not to go there. So, whoa, that was a flash of lightning and a half. We're having a big thunderstorm tonight. I hope I don't lose my lights. At least my camera's all charged up, my phone. I don't like nights like tonight, but, yeah, I mean, like, well, I don't feel like lifting it up. My back is really bad. I have this very, very old checkerboard. It's primitive, one board. I also have a chair over there, one board. Unfortunately, somebody's dog ate the connecting joint to the legs. And the kids have one and I have one. But like I say, the problem is if it's not attributed to someone these days, you're not going to get a lot for something. That's the problem. And nowadays, everything has to be certified by a specialist. Baseball cards. Back in the old days, you just turned it over, Now people need to have a specialist, stamp the paper and say, that's this and that and blah, blah, worth X amount. Things have changed a lot since when we did it. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to publish it tonight, and tomorrow I'm probably not going to do a video. I'm in a great deal of pain, and yeah, and I have a bunch of things to do, so probably just going to sip my coffee and try to take enough painkillers to be able to go do the things I need to do tomorrow. So that's it. Y'all have a good night, and I'm not trying to be testy. I just really, antiques and shows, and it's just a big order. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Do you start with A? Let's start with A in Shroeders catalog, and we'll go from there. But, there's so many A's and so many different types and so many different markets. Yeah. So this weekend, go find yourself a little flea market and go look around and find the antique dealers, talk to them. You got something you think is of value, take it with you. Talk to someone about it. That's it. Okay, I'm going. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and if you're new here and you'd like to subscribe, I would highly encourage you to do so. Bye.